What if I told you overthinking is not really about thinking at all? It feels like thinking. It sounds intelligent. It feels productive. It gives the illusion that you are solving something important. But most overthinking is not problem solving. It is emotional avoidance wearing the mask of intelligence. That is why people can spend hours analyzing one conversation and still feel worse. They replay moments, imagine scenarios, predict disasters, and search for the perfect answer. Yet, nothing changes. Because the mind is not trying to solve the problem. It is trying to escape uncertainty. And uncertainty terrifies the human brain. Your mind would rather create endless questions than sit in the discomfort of not knowing. That is the hidden psychology behind overthinking. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man named Ethan who received a simple text from someone he liked. "We need to talk later." That was it. 4 words. No anger, no explanation, no context. But Ethan's mind exploded. Did I do something wrong? Is she losing interest? Did I sound weird yesterday? Is this about someone else? Should I text back now? Should I wait? What if it's bad? Within 10 minutes, he had created 10 possible disasters. He couldn't focus at work, he checked his phone constantly, his stomach tightened. Hours felt like days. Finally, later that evening, she called. She wanted help choosing a birthday gift for her brother. That was all. Nothing was wrong. The suffering Ethan felt had not come from reality. It came from imagination. This is one of the most important truths in psychology. The brain often treats imagined threats like real threats. Your heart races, your body tenses, stress chemicals rise, even when nothing has happened. Overthinking turns fiction into biology. Now here's the first instant way to stop it. Name what is happening. Say to yourself, this is not problem solving. This is overthinking. Why does that help? Because labeling an emotion or mental state activates the rational part of the brain. It creates distance between you and the spiral. You are no longer trapped inside the storm. You are observing it. Psychologists call this cognitive diffusion. Instead of, "I'm doomed," it becomes, "I'm having the thought that I'm doomed." That small shift weakens the loop immediately. The second method, ask one brutal question. What evidence do I have right now? Not guesses, not fears, not assumptions. Evidence. Most overthinking collapses under evidence. She hates me. Evidence? None. I'm going to fail. Evidence? Unknown. Everyone thinks badly of me. Evidence? Mind reading. The brain hates being challenged this way because fear survives on vagueness. Clarity destroys it. The third method, move your body within 60 seconds. Walk, stretch, do push-ups, splash water on your face, change rooms. Why? Because overthinking traps energy in the mind. Movement redirects that energy into the body. The nervous system calms faster through action than argument. You cannot think your way out of every mental spiral. Sometimes you must move your way out. Now, let's go deeper. Why do smart people often overthink more? Because intelligence can become a curse when misused. A powerful mind can imagine more outcomes, more risks, more possibilities. That means smarter people sometimes build bigger prisons inside their heads. They mistake complexity for control. But control is often an illusion. No amount of thinking guarantees certainty. And this leads to the darkest trap, trying to think enough so life becomes risk-free. It never happens. Love has uncertainty, business has uncertainty, health has uncertainty, people have uncertainty. To live fully is to coexist with unknowns. Ethan learned this after months of anxiety. He started using a new rule whenever he spiraled. If I cannot act on it now, I will not analyze it now. Simple. If there was action to take, he took it. If not, he postponed the thought. His mind fought back at first. What if you miss something important? But gradually, he became calmer, sharper, happier. Because many thoughts are not urgent, they only feel urgent. That distinction changes lives. Here's another psychology truth. Your brain repeats thoughts that receive attention. Every time you entertain a spiral for 20 minutes, you train the brain to send more spirals. Attention is reward. So when useless thoughts arrive, starve them. Notice, label, redirect. Not suppress, redirect. To breath, to action, to what is real now. So how do you stop overthinking instantly? Name it. This is overthinking. Ask for evidence. Move your body. Focus only on actions available now. Refuse to reward useless loops. And remember this, peace is not found by answering every thought. Peace is found by realizing not every thought deserves an answer. In the end, overthinking feels like control, but it steals control from you. The mind says, stay here, think longer, one more scenario. But freedom begins the moment you reply, no, I choose reality over imagination. Because the fastest way to stop overthinking is not to win the argument in your head, it is to walk out of the courtroom entirely.
What if I told you the thing keeping you awake at night is often not your problem at all? It is your attempt to solve the problem repeatedly. Most people think overthinking happens because life is difficult, but many times life is not attacking you, your own mind is. It replays old conversations. It predicts disasters that never arrive. It creates imaginary futures and forces you to suffer them in advance. Then it whispers something dangerous. If you think about this long enough, you'll feel safe. But safety never comes, only exhaustion. That is the hidden trap of overthinking. It promises relief, then steals your peace. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman named Maya who had one small mistake at work. She sent an email with the wrong attachment to her manager. A minor error, easily fixed in seconds. But Maya's mind treated it like catastrophe. She stared at the screen after sending it. Why did I do that? Now they'll think I'm careless. What if this affects promotion season? What if my manager tells others? What if I always ruin things? What if I get fired one day because of mistakes like this? Notice what happened. One email mistake became a threat to her career, identity, and future. That is how overthinking works. It takes a spark and imagines a wildfire. Maya apologized, resent the correct file, and her manager replied, "No worries, thanks." 2 words. No anger, no issue, no drama. But Maya still felt anxious all day. Why? Because the real battle was no longer outside, it was inside. Psychology explains this clearly. The brain does not always react to events. It reacts to meaning. If your brain labels a mistake as danger, humiliation, rejection, or failure, your nervous system responds as if something serious happened. That means two people can face the same event and experience completely different emotions. One thinks, small mistake, fixed. The other thinks, I'm exposed, I'm failing, I'm doomed. Same event, different meaning, different suffering. Now here's the first instant method to stop overthinking. Shrink the meaning. Ask yourself, what is this actually? Not what it could mean, not what it might become. What is it now? Maya's real problem was not career destruction. It was a wrong attachment. 30-second fix. When you reduce drama to facts, the mind loses fuel. Second method, use the 5-5-5 rule. Will this matter in 5 minutes? Maybe. 5 days? Probably little. 5 years? Almost certainly not. This tool interrupts exaggerated importance. Overthinking feeds on making everything feel life-changing. Perspective starves it. Third method, interrupt rumination with a decision. Many spirals exist because no boundary has been set. Should I text them? Should I quit? Should I ask? Should I wait? The mind loops around open doors. Sometimes peace comes not from certainty, but from choosing. Make the best decision available, then move. Indecision is fertilizer for overthinking. Now let's go deeper. Why do some people overthink more than others? Often because they were rewarded for vigilance. Maybe they grew up in unpredictable homes. Maybe mistakes were punished harshly. Maybe they learned that being alert prevented pain. So the brain adapted. Think ahead, scan danger, expect problems, never relax. At one time, this may have helped, but later in adult life, the same strategy becomes poison. You continue scanning even when danger is gone. You keep guarding doors no one is trying to enter. Maya discovered this in therapy. As a child, she had a critical parent who reacted strongly to tiny mistakes. So her nervous system learned mistakes equal threat. No wonder a wrong email felt huge. Her adult mind knew better, but her conditioned brain reacted first. This is an important psychology truth. You are not always anxious because today is dangerous. Sometimes you're reacting from yesterday. Once Maya understood that, she stopped treating every stress response as truth. She began asking, is this current reality or old programming? That question changed everything. Now, here's a powerful instant reset. Use your senses. When spiraling, name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. Why does it work? Because overthinking lives in imagined time, past and future. The senses pull you into the present, and the present is often much safer than the story in your head. Maya used this before meetings, before sleep, and after mistakes. Her mind slowly became quieter, not because life became perfect, because she stopped believing every alarm. So, how do you stop overthinking instantly? Ask, what is this actually? Use the 5-5-5 rule. Make one clear decision. Ask, is this current reality or old programming? Return to your senses. And remember this, your mind can be loud without being wise. Just because a thought is urgent does not mean it is true. Just because fear is convincing does not mean danger is present. In the end, overthinking is often a smoke machine. It fills the room, blurs vision, and makes everything feel serious. But when the smoke clears, many problems were never there. So the next time your mind starts racing, don't ask, How do I think more? Ask something smarter. What if I've thought enough already? Because peace often begins when analysis ends.
What if I told you some of the worst moments of your life never actually happened? Not because you were lucky, because they existed only in your mind. The argument you imagined, the rejection you predicted, the failure you rehearsed, the disaster you felt certain was coming. You suffered it emotionally, but reality never delivered it. That is the cruelty of overthinking. It can punish you for events that do not exist. Your body feels stress, your chest tightens, sleep disappears, focus collapses. All because the mind keeps showing you scenes from a future it invented. And the more you watch them, the more real they feel. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man named Daniel who had an important presentation on Friday morning. It was only 10 minutes long, but by Monday night, he was already panicking. What if I forget my words? What if they ask something I can't answer? What if my voice shakes? What if everyone notices I'm nervous? What if I embarrass myself in front of the team? By Tuesday, he was replaying worst-case scenarios while showering. By Wednesday, he could barely sleep. By Thursday, he felt sick. And by Friday morning, he looked like someone who had survived a disaster, but the presentation had not even started. When Daniel finally stood in front of the room, something surprising happened. He spoke clearly, people nodded, they listened. His manager praised him afterward. The nightmare never came, yet Daniel had already lived it all week. That is one of psychology's deepest truths. The mind does not always wait for reality, it simulates it. And when those simulations are negative, your body reacts as if danger is present now. That means overthinking is not harmless thinking. It is rehearsal for suffering. Now here is the first instant way to stop it. Ask, is this happening now? Not tomorrow, not later, not maybe, now. If the answer is no, then you are dealing with a mental movie, not current reality. This question is powerful because overthinking survives by dragging you into future time, but anxiety weakens in the present moment. Right now, are you breathing? Yes. Are you safe in this second? Usually yes. Is the feared event occurring this instant? Often no. That brings the brain back to truth. Second method, set a timer for worry. This sounds strange, but it works. Give yourself 10 minutes later in the day to think about the issue. Then tell your mind, not now. We'll discuss this at 7 p.m. Why does this help? Because the brain wants assurance it won't lose control. When you schedule worry, you stop letting it interrupt your whole day. And often, by the time the timer arrives, the thought feels weaker or pointless. Third method, replace certainty with probability. Overthinking speaks in certainty. This will go badly. They definitely hate me. I know I'll fail. Challenge it. What is likely, not feared? Daniel believed disaster was certain, but realistically, he had prepared. He knew the material. Most presentations go normally. Probability was on his side. Fear had simply been louder than facts. Now let's go deeper. Why does the mind do this at all? Because your brain is designed to protect you, not calm you. Thousands of years ago, imagining danger could help survival. Today, the same system can misfire. Instead of spotting predators, it spots embarrassing emails. Instead of fearing storms, it fears opinions. The machinery is ancient. The triggers are modern. That is why intelligent people often feel trapped by irrational spirals. The brain is using old software on new problems. Daniel learned another lesson after that presentation. He realized he was trying to eliminate nervousness completely before acting, but confidence rarely comes before action. It comes after surviving action. He had waited all week for calmness. Calmness came only after he did the thing. This is crucial. If you wait to feel ready, overthinking wins. If you move while imperfect, confidence grows. So the next time your mind spirals, do one small action immediately. Send the email, start the first slide, make the call, take the walk, open the document. Action interrupts imagination. Motion breaks mental loops. Here's another powerful truth. Thoughts are suggestions, not commands. Just because your mind says something is wrong does not mean something is wrong. Just because it says keep thinking does not mean thinking helps. You are allowed to disagree with your own mind. Daniel now uses a simple rule. If I'm repeating the same thought without progress, I stop and act. That one sentence saved him hours of suffering. So, how do you stop overthinking instantly? Ask, is this happening now? Schedule worry for later. Replace certainty with probability. Take one immediate action. Remember, thoughts are suggestions. In the end, overthinking feels responsible. It feels like preparation. But often it's fear wearing professional clothes. So the next time your mind starts predicting disaster, don't attend every meeting your thoughts invite you to. Some conversations deserve silence. Some fears deserve no audience. And some peace returns the moment you stop believing everything you think.